is coming to our place.
Is it?
Yes, Maharaj.
Really? I
He came
can't.
here once.
When was that?
Maharaj, it has been a few years, I think.
I can't
Can't remember
remember.
exactly the year.
We were here once.
Huh?
I think in 6 years ago or something.
In this house, huh? Oh,
before
far.
COVID, not before COVID.
Before
It would have been before COVID, yes.
Before COVID, yeah.
Okay. Good. We all lost our brains during COVID. We can't remember. There was life before COVID. The world existed before COVID. It did, huh?
So Maharaj, this is our...
I came to a whole program in Hornby a long time ago.
Yeah.
Hornsby.
Yes.
Hornsby.
We were there once as well.
Yeah, long
I
time
think
ago.
this was after that.
Yeah, much after that. The Hornsby Hall was a long time ago.
Yes.
Maybe 15 years or something.
Yeah. Then Dipti was born. She's 13 now. 13 years.
Okay, before she was born? Or?
Yeah, around that time.
Oh. Hornsby. So this is your temple? Not yours, Krishna's temple, but you look after this temple here in Hornsby?
Yes,
Is
Maharaj.
that right? Your good wife? I guess I was talking to her just now. Your mother's here too?
Yes, Maharaj, that's my
Your
mother.
good mother? Hare Krishna. Haribol Mataji. Bhakti True Maharaj's disciple. Is that right?
Yes, Maharaj.
Your children are here.
Yes, Maharaj.
Where are they?
That's Dhruv, he's here. Come
What's
please
your
forward.
good name, young man? Your son's name?
Dhruv, Maharaj.
Dhruv Maharaj. Haribol Dhruv Maharaj. Well, it is Dhruv Maharaj. We say Dhruv Maharaj. And I didn't catch your name either,
My
by the
name
way.
is Pranaveshwar Krishna Das.
Pranaveshwara Krishna Das.
Pranaveshwar.
Pranaveshwar. Yeah. Tiny, oh, maybe I give it to you. The tiny little donation here for the HKCCC Temple Building Fund. Okay. Maybe enough for 1 or 2 bricks, maybe. I don't know if you're using bricks, maybe. Who's the treasurer?
She's not here.
Kala Mataji.
I was not here.
Maharaj, they have a daughter as well.
Do you have a daughter too? Wow,
Is
wonderful.
Shivi there? Please come here.
Oh, your wonderful daughter. So Dhruva
And
and
Shivi.
Shivi?
Yes, Maharaj.
Shivi. Hare Krishna, Shivi. And what are the 2 children doing? Are they still school or
Yes,
university or
Maharaj.
what?
Son is going to go in university this year.
Ah,
So he's doing psychology from
ooh, better be careful.
University of Sydney.
Psychology. We're going to be in trouble. I hope you're a good daddy. You better be careful of this.
And she's in year 10 now.
Year 10?
Yes, Maharaj.
What are you doing? Studying school, is it?
Yeah.
And you're going to go, what does that mean? They're like a few more years before they go to university, is it?
Before Shivi goes to university,
Yeah.
Dhruv is already in university.
He's already in, yeah.
Yes, Maharaj.
You know, it's a funny thing now. It's almost like automatic that almost all the youth, they all go to university now, isn't it?
All of them go to
Almost
university.
all, isn't it? You can't get a job unless you've got a degree these days, can you?
No, Maharaj.
Even if you want to be a pot washer in a restaurant, you have to have a degree in something or another,
Yes, Maharaj.
health and cleanliness or something. It's ridiculous. But what to do? That's how it is. Yeah. And in our days, very few children went to university. Most 90, I would say 90% children started working at 16 at the latest. 16 you start work. When I was, during my time. Only about, maybe more, maybe 20% would go forward to high school, what you call high school now, 16 to 18. And of those, maybe 5% would go to university. So not more than, I would say 2 to 3% of the population will go to university. Now it's almost everyone, huh? There's something wrong with you.
They're struggling to get a job, Maharaj, even after going to university.
They're struggling, are they? That's good. There's a course at university, How to Struggle in This World, it's called. How to struggle and survive. Huh? How to survive in the struggle. Yeah. I think sometimes, often many of the, because we're not in that category, but many of the really successful people in the world never went to college. They don't even, they're hardly educated. They just know what they're doing, that's all. They know right from birth what they're doing. They know how to exploit the world. So we have to learn how to exploit, isn't it? become an expert exploiter. Yeah, what to do? What can we say? You all be begging door to door, give me a job, give me a job, give me a job. I've got a degree, yes, so has everybody else. That's the problem, everyone else has got one too. In those days, if you had a degree, it was like, you know, it really meant something, you know. Well, what to do? What to do? It's the world we live in. We have to live with the times that are with thee, and progress thee shall call. So is the group mostly here now, your group? Your group
Yes,
will be
Maharaj.
Youth.
young.
Who's leading the youth team? He's the
He's the-
leader of the youth.
He's the big youth.
And the Mataji to put together. running this
Yes, good,
youth
good.
program.
So you normally host the program here, do you?
Maharaj, it is 5 or 6 homes, and they host every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
In Hornsby?
Not necessarily here, but near the temple as well. We are doing in Rouse Hill.
Yeah, we
Lotus
went there the
Temple.
other day. So it's not the same place every week, different
No.
places.
We keep rotating.
You rotate, okay. That's good. And the young devotees, they go if they want to the different venues, do they?
Yes, Maharaj. We keep it closer to most of the population. So that
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
within convenience.
How many of you live near here in Hornsby? Anybody? What does that mean?
This is the farthest they come, Maharaj.
The fellow.
This was kept for your convenience, Maharaj, because you are staying in temple. So we thought this will be little more convenient for you, Maharaj.
Well, I thought you had program in Hornsby regularly,
The whole program.
Yes,
The whole program.
yes, Maharaj.
not the youth program.
Not the youth program.
Youth program is where normally?
Youth program normally where are we doing, Arvind? Rouse Hill. Rouse Hill.
That same place we were the other day, huh? We're in
Also different,
No, it's in different devotees' houses.
They do in house.
different houses in Rouse Hill, that side. So many of you are from the Rouse Hill side, are you? Who's from that side? Blacktown, Rouse Hill, this thing, that thing. Is it? Most of you are from over there.
How many were
Got
there?
it.
How many from that side of the town?
Well, we,
About
if I'd known, we could have easily gone over that way because it doesn't take long. It takes 40 minutes to go there. 45 minutes. And all you had to come here for 40 minutes or whatever it takes to get here. Anyway, it's too late now unless we all go over there. It won't take you so long to get back. What to do? And he, Sachinandan lives all over. You live here, right? You and your family live in this house.
yes, Maharaj.
This is your house.
Yes, Maharaj.
And he lives all the way over there too.
Yes,
He
he is
came
also. Prabhu would have traveled 40 minutes.
Yeah, more or less.
No, it was that long.
It doesn't take long.
26 minutes.
Yeah, that for that tunnel,
No, sorry. Yeah, close.
maybe. But that tunnel, we went from Rouse Hill to Newcastle last week for a program in the Bhakti tree. And believe me, I couldn't believe it. We were way past Hornsby after about less than 40 minutes. And it was like, we thought it'd be rush hour. We left at like 4 in the afternoon. And there was no traffic. We were on the highway way past Hornsby. The tunnel goes way past Hornsby, and we were way up there on the motorway, whatever you call it, going north. It was really quick, wasn't it, Rasika? Really quick. I didn't even notice it. Practically, it was like vroom.
You recall we traveling 120Y in 2002 because I used to go from place to place.
Oh, so many. We used to go all over Sydney. He used to take me everywhere. This man, 20 places in one day sometimes. It was like bizarre, 10 minutes in each house,
It was fun, I like that.
It was fun. I can't do it anymore, neither can you probably either. Yeah, it was wild, Didn't know where we were going, just house after house after house after house. And visiting them. I don't know, I don't think we came here. Maybe they weren't here then, I don't know.
Didn't know at the time.
Yeah,
Those days, every day.
yeah. Saturday and Sunday, huh?
I used to forget the road. He used to stop me and look at the map.
Oh yeah, because there was no GPS then. It was all by map book,
And then he used to chant in the car. And the next door, one time there's some people from I think Mediterranean people. They came next to us and they start chanting. We're driving next to each other.
Oh yeah.
They were dancing.
He remembers all these sweet memories. He's got so many. We were together in New Zealand also.
Right.
He was one of the main instruments in the building of the temple in Auckland. He was their electrician of the project there. He did all the work. He would work during the day, then he'd come at night and stay up very late at night with, like, bringing lamps and things to work with electricity in the new temple there. How many of you have been to Auckland? You've seen the temple in Auckland, huh? Nice temple. Well, Sachi was the engineer there. Not engineer, the electrician there. Yeah. So I guess you're overseeing electrics in the new temple here too, eh?
Yes, right, Father, yes.
Krishna willing. You won't have any problems with the electrics now. He's one of the men in the big electric company here in Sydney.
He still does the wiring for the Janmashtami.
Where?
Not Sydney.
Oh, you come there to do the electricity
We
there
do
too.
all this when you have festival.
Very nice. This is how it works. Most of you are going to get a degree. You're going to get a degree. You're going to get a career. Maybe are you leaving us already? Where's he going?
They're just putting some stuff in the car.
Oh, you're leaving to Rouse Hill, huh? Oh, you're coming. That's what it means. Krishna consciousness, is a matter of consciousness. It's not a matter of what you do. I mean, obviously, to a certain extent, it can be, like, if you don't want to be a butcher or something like that, right? Some kind of, selling liquor or something. Those things are not very favorable. Although sometimes you're forced by time, place, and circumstance, but that's not what we want. There's most you may have to end up being IT or engineer, or I don't know what you're all doing. Anyone here at university? Anyone at uni? What you doing? What are you doing? Psychology. My goodness, a lot of people have problems around here. all the youth are taking psychology around here. They think their parents need a little bit of help, is it, or what?
That's what the demand is, Mother.
And big demand, yeah, in the community. Yeah, I don't know his name. What are you doing?
Brinda.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to ask anyone. What are you going to do with the psychology degree? What are you going to do with it? Hang it on the wall, okay. Huh? Become a counselor, okay. In the local council,
Like help people, so like become a psychologist.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of need for counselling these days, they say. Anyone else at university? What are you doing, Arvind?
I do law and business.
Pardon?
Law and business.
Law and business, okay, there's a bit of a difference. You might need a psychologist after a while. Good combination. Who else is doing what else? Anyone else at uni? You're at university?
I'm studying.
You have at university. You have to study as well. It's not all party at university. You do have to study. You're not yet. You're going to go to university, not yet. What do you want to do?
I'm doing Bachelor of Science, something in
Bachelor
General.
of Science.
Huh?
Bachelor of Science.
Yeah, but that can mean anything. I did a Bachelor of Science, but my degree was in geography. It doesn't sound very scientific in one sense. Anyone else at uni? Come on, don't be shy. Oh, now you combine the two. The bridge right in between. Law and psychology. Psychology. We are there. Psychology and psychology. Anyone else? Law and psychology, that's like a combined degree, or what is it? They're not the same thing. Huh? Combined.
A double degree.
Double. 2 degrees. Huh? Anybody else? They're getting embarrassed. Yeah.
I'm doing cybersecurity.
What was that?
Cyber security.
Huh?
Cyber security.
Security,
For the-
online security.
Oh, I see. Something to do with computers and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
cyber.
Cyber security.
Cyber security. Yes, we know where to go to then for protection. And anyone else? You at university? No. Pardon? What did you degree? What did you graduate in? Nursing. There we go.
Yeah, that's what you-
Huh?
Listen,
Down to earth,
That's
very
it.
down to earth. You can be a nurse?
Yeah, I am working as a nurse.
Working as a nurse, very good. And at the back there?
I'm a speech pathologist. I did my degree 3 years ago.
What type of thing?
speech pathologist.
Oh, very nice.
3 years ago.
That means you help people with speech problems, isn't it? Help people with speech defects, is that what? I'm not getting any answer here.
No, speech defect. Manoj asking
Yeah,
a lot of people.
yeah, and also people with disabilities like autism, Down syndrome,
Yeah.
or stroke, post-stroke recovery and stuff.
Oh, you have to moving. I wonder what's going on. They're all moving. More have come from Rouse Hill. What about this side? I don't know if we've covered all that side. Not maybe you university?
Yeah, I'm doing business, commerce.
Oh, practical business. Yeah. You're not a university also?
Yeah, I said law and psychology.
Oh, you moved. Oh, you just moved over here. Okay. Okay, got it. I probably missed somebody over there. I don't know because everyone's moving right now. What about the gentleman on this side? Come on. What are you all doing? What are you up to there? At the back. What are you up to? Yeah. Pardon?
Year 12.
Oh, you're still schooling, huh? What do you want to do? What on earth's going on? What's it, a moving house or something? What's happening here? Ooh.
Setting the mic up.
Oh, okay. What's he doing?
He's just in year 12.
Yeah, what do you want to do?
He has no idea.
No idea. An honest person. Some honest person doesn't know what he's doing. And next to you?
Maharaj, I study, I'm not going to say computer science, software engineering.
Software engineering. Okay, that sounds better, doesn't it? That sounds better.
I study engineering, mechatronics.
Electrical engineering.
Mechatronics.
Huh?
Mechatronics.
Mechanical.
Mechanical.
Mechanical engineering or something like that. Yourself? Yeah.
Mechanical engineering.
Also mechanical. See, the boys are more on the engineering side, by the looks of it. Looks like. Yeah?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I'm in year 2.
Schooling still.
School.
And then university, what do you want to do?
Maharaj, I want to pursue baking from Maharaj.
Baking.
Yes, Maharaj.
Baking. Did I hear correctly? Baking.
Yes,
Amazing.
cooking.
Amazing.
Demand.
Huh?
A lot of demand on that.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Baking. I don't meet many bakers these days. Yes.
I'm doing Masters of Finance.
Masters of Finance. Wow. You've already done your degree,
I have, yes.
and you in economics or what?
No, I did my degree in accounting management.
What was that?
Accounting and
Accounting.
I just started year 11.
Just started
Year 11, still high school.
high school. You haven't decided what you want to do yet.
Probably electrical engineering.
Electrical
Electrical
engineering. I have to give him some
Sure.
inspiration there. Give him a job when he's finished.
Yes, Maharaj. I just started year 11.
Yeah, that's cool. What do you like?
Finance, something with that.
Financial. Huh?
Psychology.
Ah, yeah, long way away from the psychologist over there.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
I teach English to
Teach English.
adult migrants.
Migrants, huh? Who come with not very good English. Huh?
Sometimes they come with fantastic English. The government just doesn't want them to know about it.
Oh, right. I see. They have to go through a course, do they?
Yeah. Well, we had a fellow from Manchester had to do an exam the other day.
Amazing. Huh? Yeah, they have these rules. You remember in New Zealand, Purushottam Tattva from Malaysia?
Yes.
He has he's been teaching all his life in England and Malaysia. He had a degree from England, in all kinds of teachings. When he came here, he had to go through a 4-year course before they would allow him to teach over here. He said, I'm too old for that. He just dropped it, End up working in a shop or something. Yeah, it's strange. What to do? Well, it's nice to be with you all. And those who I haven't asked, probably a few who I haven't asked, but it's okay. I can handle it. What are you studying? I didn't ask you.
Studying life.
Life, he's doing a course in life. What about death? That's the next stage. How to die, you know, that's interesting. That'd be an interesting course, wouldn't it? How to die. You know, it's one thing how to live, it's another thing how to die. You're all thinking how to live, you know, which is natural. But there's also one of those things about life, preparing to die. I'm sure you've all, even at young age, you've experienced some family members who've passed away, isn't it? Whatever, everyone, in due course of time, whatever we are, whatever we do, we pass away. Good. So where's our host? Pranesh, I can't get it. Pranesh Pranaveshwaran. Yes, Prabhu. What do you want us to do?
So Maharaj, this is
Nice group.
West Sydney Youth Group, and there are more devotees. Today being a work day, some of them couldn't join, but they're very keen to hear from you, Maharaj, whatever topic you pick. Or
I haven't picked any topic. I haven't even thought about it. I don't usually have time to think about these things.
maybe they can ask questions, Maharaj.
They can if they want. They won't get any answers maybe, but at least they can ask questions. Something burning? Is that our is that our baker? Is that our baker?
Yes, Maharaj.
Is that the baker? The baker? He hasn't finished his degree yet, so we'll forgive him. Well, I mean, what we started with basically was that, you know, everything can be engaged. As we started with Satchidananda Prabhu. What do you do? What's your profession?
I'm in technology, Maharaj.
What's that mean?
Information technology.
IT, that's IT, isn't it? Information technology.
He's a director of a company.
Director of a company.
I'm in Deloitte, Maharaj. I work as a
Where?
consultant.
Deloitte. He's a consultant and director. You're a director, aren't you?
Yes, Maharaj.
Director.
Wow, big post.
Big
Ooh.
The big boss.
Company director. Ooh. Hare Krishna.
But very humble.
Yeah, yes. Yes, I'm sure. Wow. Company director. Information technology, is it?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah. So I'm sure you found ways to connect that with Krishna consciousness, have you?
Yes, Maharaj.
How do you do that?
Maharaj, work, I believe, is important because work is the duty. That's number one from Bhagavad Gita. And to sustain the family in Krishna consciousness, money is important as a devastha. And so I put my best effort in my work so that I do a good job and earn good money, try to keep my job, and so that I can sustain my Krishna consciousness and Krishna consciousness of my family. And the plan is to retire as soon as possible so that I can devote all my time.
Try to retire before you're 80 if you can. What's the retirement age now here?
67.
67? That's not so high. We were somewhere the other day, they told us it's up to 70. They keep not here, but somewhere. They keep pushing it up, you know. 67. You still got a few years to go or not?
Yes, Maharaj. I will be turning 50 soon.
Oh, you're still a young man.
3 more years to go.
Still a young man. But you know, Abraham Lincoln, have you heard of him? Somebody, President of the United States, right? One of the famous ones, isn't he? I don't think Washington was the first, wasn't he? I don't know. George Washington. I'm not sure. Yeah. But he was fairly soon after, I think. He was supposed to be a pretty good president, I heard. But I heard, you can correct me, I may be wrong, but I heard he was quite old when he became the president. And what I read, and again, you know, people write things, I don't know whether they're correct or not. They said he didn't really make the grade for most of his life. He was a bit of a failure. You know, most things he did. And he said that I didn't ever see it as a failure. I was just learning how not to do it. And eventually he became the president. It was like failed, and then boom, president. Something more or less like that. Well, he said it's not the years in your life, but the life in your years. You may live 100 years, but what really counts is the life in your years. Now, of course, we all cite Jesus Christ, or Buddha, Shankaracharya, even Lord Chaitanya. physically speaking, they didn't maintain a long lifespan. 30, 40 years or whatever it was, you know, I don't know how long, but not so long. Even in, I was just in Atlanta. Have you been to Atlanta in America? USA, I shouldn't say America. They get upset when you say America. He says, this is USA, this is not America. Anyway, that's what part of the world you live in. But Atlanta, famous person came from there. Do you know who that was? Famous person. Who really influenced, I mean, you know, to what extent, of course, it's just a tiny flip in history, but in, I don't know what years it was, must be the middle of last century, I guess. He had quite a big influence on the, you know, let's say the, excuse me sniffing, but there's something burning, or what is it?
Maharaj, my wife is cooking.
Your wife is burning, hope not. Help! You better do something quick. What's that smell?
What is the smell that is there? Maharaj is
Strange smell wafting in.
No, I have switched on the oven, Maharaj, so maybe that may be the reason.
The oven.
I use oven quite a lot, so maybe something must be burning inside.
Something burning in the oven, okay. We won't go any further. No problem. So who was that person, famous person from Atlanta? Da-da-da-da. Famous person. Nobody knows? I'll give you initials. MLK. Martin Luther King. Yeah, Martin Luther King. They have a massive museum. I didn't see it. They were trying to push me in to go to see it. I'm not into those things. But we respect him. You know, he was a man of principle. But apparently, I don't know exactly, but he was really young when he got assassinated, right? They shot him. But he revolutionized much of the thinking of, you know, Americans, maybe worldwide also. He's a real national hero. I think he's well known all over the world. I'm not sure, Martin Luther King. He's kind of, what would you say, independence fighter, rights, civil rights, I don't know what you call these things. But, you know, for the people, you know, to help uplift people. He was a real man. He was fearless, you know. But didn't live very long, you know. Very short life. But what he did in those few years, immaterially, okay, something, he's trying to do something good, no doubt. But had a tremendous effect. And it's really the years, the life in our years that we really value. You know, Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam says, what's the use of a long life, isn't it? Of hundreds and thousands. The trees live 5,000 years or more, some of them. They have these redwood trees. Have you ever seen the redwood trees? California? I'm sorry, it's 7,000 years old, I'm told, some of those trees. They're wider than this, much wider than this. Cars, they make tunnels in them. Your cars go through them. The road goes through them sometimes. They're huge. I've seen a redwood, but I've not seen those ones. They're apparently some huge, 7,000, they say, maybe more than 7,000 years of age. But, you know, okay, you've provided some interesting thing for the tunnel to go through, but what is that, you know? No, not a big deal. What's the use of living 7,000 years as a tree? Better to live and, you know, and really value your life so we can actually perfect life. It's just like, and I won't be able to get it tonight, Praneshwara, something or other. Pranaveshvara. You have to excuse me. I've not heard that name before. Praneshwara, I know, I've got a disciple that name, but Pranaveshvara, Pranaveshvara, Pranava Ishwar, Pranava Ishwar, Pranava Ishwar, 3 times. Okay. Is showing us, or telling us a little bit about his feelings towards a man who's responsible, both in occupation and family, and also devotee. I presume your spiritual is your spiritual master Bhakti True Maharaj?
Yes, Maharaj.
A wonderful spiritual master. So even though he's working, presumably you're a busy man, I don't know. Still you find time for chanting Hare Krishna. Still you find time for studying Prabhupada's books. Correct me if I'm wrong. Still you find time to be involved in the new temple project. Is that correct?
Yes, he's one of the EC members. And he's
You're one of the committee members there also. Okay, so busy man indeed. We're not all of the same, you could say, quantity. We don't have all the same capacity. Everyone's different. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Don't try to imitate others. Try to do what you're inspired to do positively. And try to do it in relation. Learn how to do it in relation with Krishna. Sachinandan. Now, Sachinandan's a little bit older than you, I think. Pranaveshwar Prabhu. He's just tomorrow he turns 30. That's why he's here. 30 tomorrow? Yeah, 30 tomorrow. But what do you do? What's your occupation? I guess they all know, but tell us again.
I'm operations manager for Endeavour Energy.
Some operations manager for
Endeavour Energy.
Endeavour Energy. Maybe you've heard of that. Is that one of the companies that kind of manages the electricity in Sydney or something?
Yes, yes, Western Sydney.
Which part?
Western Sydney.
Oh, that's where the temple is.
Yes, yes.
That
South
side.
Edward.
Over the western side.
Part of Parramatta.
Pardon?
Part of Parramatta as well.
Parramatta as well.
And down south.
And southern towards.
Wollongong and also for the mountains and Wollongong. Big area.
Big area. So he's the operations manager. That sounds like a big responsibility. If electricity goes off, he's the man who has to answer for it, isn't it? Everyone, go! What's going on? The responsibilities. Also, of course, he's had his family life. They're all grown up now. And I've known him, I suppose, for about 30 years or more, isn't it?
1990.
1990, so it's more than 35 years. And, you know, even then he was very busy. We used to go to his house. He had a house in a place called Papatoto. That's from an English pronunciation. If you're teaching English, you think it would say Papatoto.
Not in Australia, am I right?
Pardon?
Not in Australia, am I right?
No, what would they say?
Probably
Papatoto. Potato. Potato. He lived in potato. It's easier. Maybe I just call it potato. Huh? Huh? Pukekohe is famous for potatoes. But Papatoi, they call it Papatoi. Papatoi. In Malay, Maori name, huh? Maori. But Papatoto, it looks like. Sinful toes. The place of sinful toes. Papa, sin, Toto. But he was preaching there even then. You know, he had the Namahat going on in his house. He would come to the temple all the time to fix the electricity. And whatever else he was asked to do, basically. Pot washing, anything. It's amazing, isn't it? How wonderful opportunities are there. And many of you are going to be doing, obviously, you're already voice pathology or whatever. Speech. Yeah, helping. That's a very valuable. Even in our own movement, there are many autistic children. Many. I mean, in Madhavi, she has, Nitai he's doing really well, by the way. He's doing incredibly well. He led kirtan the other day at one of our, somewhere. He was really doing well. But obviously they're limited by certain faculty, say whatever, imbalances or whatever. But yes, different services we can render to related to Krishna, especially if you're doing any of these engineering things, temple projects, housing projects, devotee housing projects, or whatever else, I don't know, different things. And if you're doing psychology, I don't know if you're going to go into this department or that, but counseling, all the time there's so much. These days particularly, all kinds of people need, guidance, need help with traumas and so many things they've had. Practically in the West, it's just a common thing, isn't it? Maybe in India it's not, but we're finding that many Indian, especially when they come to the West, they're faced with this challenge, isn't it? Adjustment to the West, difficult. You're coming out of a culture which doesn't really delve into these things. It's kind of hush-hush type thing. You come to the West and it's like a whole different thing, It's very difficult to adjust sometimes. But you need to adjust because you're in a society which does not keep hush-hush. A society which has different paradigms and different kind of culture. And if you're doing law, obviously there's plenty of scope. Who's a lawyer? Where's the lawyer gone? Oh, you're the lawyer. You're the lawyer. You're the lawman.
Me and Sevanandan over there as well.
You're also the lawyer. Lawyers. They're called lawyers or lawyer. Lawyer. Also lawyer. Ladies, lady lawyer or law. Not law S. Not a law S. A lawyer. And Keshav, Achyuta Keshava, he's also. And as I mentioned, maybe if you were there or not, I don't know, the other day in Rouse Hill, but right now he's in Mayapur. He's addressing the GBC right now in Mayapur. He's representing ISKCON Law Department, already 20 years old. Of course, he's under Devaki. I don't know if you know Devaki Nandan. He's the ISKCON in charge of ISKCON Law. Huh?
He came here a few times.
Did he come here?
Mahavishnu Goswami.
Yeah. I've known him for since 1980s. And so like this, it's not Krishna consciousness is there, and the rest of everything else is over there. Krishna's just as much there as he is there. You just got to see him in everything we do. Very simple. Whether we're teaching English to immigrants, whatever it is, there's a way, or whether we support the Chicago Bulls. You follow the Chicago Bulls? Are they a football team or a basketball team? What are they? Huh? Basketball team, is it? You play basketball?
Yeah, for recreation, yeah.
For recreation. You don't play for the Chicago Bulls. They love their basketball in America. We've had devotees also who've been, professional athletes and professional sportsmen who've been devotees and practiced devotion. One of my friends, his son plays for international football. He's an international footballer. He's a devotee. His son's a devotee. International football, plays for the country. Sweden? No, he plays in Sweden, but he represents Costa Rica or some one of those countries. He plays for them. And one of my friends, his name was Peter Burwash. Have you ever heard of Peter Burwash? You ever heard of Peter Burwash? There's lots of books out. I don't know if you've got them. He's written a lot of books on, I don't know, I can remember what they're called, but especially for young people who are looking for a career, who want to be Krishna conscious also. He specialized in that. He was an international tennis player. He played for Canada. You met a lady, didn't you, in Paris, who was playing for Canada in tennis, wasn't it? Is it tennis? It was basketball, okay. Olympics, she was in Paris. He sold her a Bhagavad Gita. She was an international basketball player at the Olympics in Paris. So anyway, Peter Burwash, he was a lovely man. And he met Prabhupada in 1975, I think, in Canada. At that time, he was retired from playing, but he was the Canadian tennis coach. He was the coach to the Canadian tennis team. Because, you don't usually go too old as a full-time tennis player, because it's pretty intense sport. Anyway, I don't know how old he was, probably in his 30s at that time. Maybe he was still playing. I think he was retired, I can't remember. Maybe he told me. But anyway, he talked to Prabhupada, and he asked Prabhupada, just like George Harrison. Everyone's heard of George Harrison, of course. Prabhupada told him, no, you carry on with your music. He asked him, should I give it up? Should I join the ashram? He asked Prabhupada. Peter Burwash asked the same thing. Prabhupada said, no, you carry on. You play your tennis, or you coach tennis, whatever you're doing. And he taught him how to do that for Krishna. Exactly what he did, I don't know exactly. He told me some things. How to be Krishna conscious. And later on, when he started a whole school. And he taught, he was a very big man in PETA. This is a vegetarian, international vegetarian thing. And he was a big man there, and he used to go all over the world. But he would also go all over the world teaching, coaching tennis. He had three things going on: PETA, tennis coaching, and he was also a life coach. Life coach? Helping people, find their goals in life. It's important to know where we're going in life, isn't it? It's pretty important. I mean, if you don't know where you're going, you know, where you're going to get. It's quite. We should at least have an idea where we're going. What is our goal in life? I know all of you will say probably something spiritual, I would imagine. But for most people, it wouldn't generally be something spiritual. It would be something material, generally. Which at least they have. If you don't have any goal, it's pretty hard, isn't it? We let's say basketball. We'll take your situation as an example. If you don't know what the goal, what's the goal of basketball?
You got to shoot the ball in the hoop.
Yeah, there's this hoop. It's a kind of, it's like a step up from netball. Do the girls still play netball at school? That was the girls used to play netball and the boys would play football. It was only the two sports. It was, all the girls play netball. They wouldn't play any other sport, just netball. They weren't allowed to play football or cricket or rugby or anything like that. It was unheard of. Totally unheard of. It was like, it was looked down upon as disgusting if a girl was playing football. Nowadays they all play football more than the boys. Boys are playing netball. Anyway, it's something similar to basketball. Not quite so intense. You've got to get the ball in the loop, right? If you don't know that, you're not going to win. You may be a brilliant basketball player, but if you don't know what the goal is, you're not going to win the game, are you? Whether it's football or basketball or netball, or you've got to know what the goal is. You're going to be kicking the ball around all day long, beating everyone to the tackle and passing excellently and whatever. If you're not going to win the game, you've got to know what the goal is, isn't it? Kick the ball in the referee's face is not the goal of the game. You may be very good at that, isn't it? You've got to know what you're doing. Madness. Human beings, I mean, they follow. 99% follow, don't they? They don't really know where they're going. They're just following what they're told. What their job, money, do this, do that. Otherwise, you don't get the job, you don't get the money. And people just follow a very innocent, simple lifestyle. So there's that goal materially, but the spiritual goal, which is really, that's the challenge, isn't it? Materially is difficult sometimes. That's why there's so many people with traumas and depression and all kinds of things nowadays. I don't know about in Australia, but there's in America, I heard that almost half the people in America are on some kind of drug of some kind.
We had one famous swimmer, Ian Thorpe, and he, I think, in 5 gold medals, and he went into depression.
Yeah. Even though very successfully, many of the most, you find in the world today, many of the most successful people, suicide is higher, drug addiction is higher, even crime. They're bored. They're simply bored. You know, it's just for fun. They do stupid things, you know. Doesn't matter, pay off, you know. Even now, the richest family in the UK, the next generation, are all in jail right now. They're multi-billionaires. Indians. They're all Indians. Hindujas. They're in jail. They're a little slightly different reason, but maybe they got paid, they bailed themselves out or paid their way out. I guess they did. But, you know, oftentimes they do that. They're just bored with life. You know? Bored. It's because they have no Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada said to Bidhi, you carry on with what you're doing and you teach others. You practice. And whenever you get the chance, you show that you can do this and be Krishna conscious. Most people don't know that. They think Hare Krishna, you're just some dropouts. You're lazy dropouts, parasites, isn't it? You ever heard that before? You Hare Krishna, you know, they don't know you're a devotee. You're in the office, you know, the director of the company. Hey, what's your other name? What do they call you at work? Pranav. At work, they call you Pranav. That was your name before, Pranav. Yes. Okay, so almost. Hey, Pranav, you know, you're a Hindu. You know, those Hare Krishnas are a bunch of parasites. They just, every time I see them, they come up and ask me for money on the street, try to push those books in my face, you know. I'm fed up with this, you know. Why you Hindus are like that, you know? What's wrong with you guys? Why don't they get a job and do something useful, you know? People say that quite frequently. Say, well, Funny you should say that. I'm a Hare Krishna. You're a Hare Krishna? What are you doing here? What are you doing here? I'm working. But you're my boss. To show that you can be a Hare Krishna, this is big preaching. It's big preaching. You don't have to ram it down people's throats. Just by your example. Show by example. You can be a devotee of Krishna and be of course, not everyone's going to choose the same line in life. That's okay. Rasikananda is traveling with me. You've met before, I don't know, Rasikananda Prabhu. He's from New Zealand, but he's a professional dentist. Dentist. He graduated in Dunedin in the medical college. He was working in England also for quite a while as a dentist, and in New Zealand also. He's traveling, well, he may be changing his life a little bit at this point of his life. We'll see what happens, but that's the plan. But you can do everything in Krishna. I mean, in relation, everything is, nothing is separate from Krishna. Nothing. It's just a matter of seeing it. In the beginning stages, you kind of tend to, you know, make that cut. This is all Maya, and this is, you know, don't talk to your mother, don't talk to your father, don't work, don't look at the karmis, they're all demons, they're all karmis, they're all meat eaters, they're going to hell. You know, it's like that fanatic kind of approach. Oh, we were scared stiff. Maybe I'll become disturbed if I talk to them. You know, or whatever it is. You know. All these, you know, various kinds of whatever. But when you realize that actually everyone's the same quality, you're just a different covering, that's all. You know. They may have a different identity, they may call themselves Christian or Hindu or atheist or whatever they call themselves. This thing, that thing. But underneath the surface, everyone's basically the same quality. And the more we find ourselves in society, and the more you become balanced and more grounded, if you want to call it that. But Krishna conscious, they say, it's Krishna conscious than people, they say, you've got your head in the clouds. You heard that saying? You've got your head in the clouds. But there's one famous, I think he was a psychologist, I'm not sure. He said there's nothing wrong with having your head in the clouds as long as your feet are on the ground. Not bad. It's good. If your feet are on the ground, your head is in the clouds, you've got both ends in place. You can elevate, but at the same time, relate and elevate. Is it? Yeah, like that. So that's the idea. Prabhupada foresaw this. He didn't foresee this movement. When we hear that Srila Prabhupada, one astrologer said, has built a house for the whole world to live in, it didn't mean you all have to shave your heads, or ladies don't need to shave your hair rather than your head. Don't shave your head, shave your hair. And but ladies don't do that. But you don't have to all move in a temple. The temples have to be like, be able to accommodate 500 million people or something. How many people in Australia? 27
million?
Something like that, whatever it is, 20, 30 million. It's not that everyone has to live in the temple. Maybe a few live in the temple only, handful. But everyone can be connected. What is the purpose of a temple? What is its purpose? Tell me, some of you youngsters. What's the purpose of the temple?
To grow in bhakti in association.
That's a nice perspective, a nice realization, a nice understanding. To grow in bhakti, in the association of others who are also interested in growing in bhakti. It's natural. If you want to drink, you go to associate with drinkers. Go to the pub or wherever it is. If you want to be a basketball player, you go to the basketball, whatever, team, club, whatever it's called. Right? If you want, whatever you want to do, you generally associate with similar-minded persons. If you want, especially if you want to grow or be a part of a team or whatever it is, you know. So what else would you say is the purpose of the temples that Prabhupada established and wanted us to establish in different parts of the world? He wanted every town. Did I mention that the other day? That I read a letter one devotee sent me the other day. Prabhupada wrote a letter to one of your early devotees here, Madhurvisa. In a letter he said, I want tens of thousands of temples in Australia.
He mentioned about this. Ishananda's place.
Huh?
Ishananda's place.
Okay. I can't remember reading that before. It's right there in the letters of Prabhupada. What he means, that's another thing. It doesn't mean build big buildings called temples. He's referring to also homes. Everyone's home a temple, you know. So what else? Let's get to we're talking mostly right now about the public temple. So what else is a purpose of a public temple? It could be a home temple also, but let's focus on public.
Spiritual education.
Spiritual education, okay. So association and cultivation, education, anything. These are, you could say, ongoing things that the temple, we'd hope the temple would provide. But anything else? What's the purpose of the temple? Yes, bro? Very good. To a place where persons who are not familiar with Krishna consciousness can become familiar, can connect with Krishna. Yes?
A place to take darshan of the deities.
Place to take darshan of the deities. All kinds of persons. We were looking at those pictures just now. I never forget in Auckland. I was in Auckland for quite a few years, I remember. And we used to get these, what's that group of retired people, what their name is?
Yeah, they used to come from.
Yeah, all over the place. We used to get, I can't remember, they got a name. It's some kind of organization for retired people. And they have the outings, these mystery outings. They don't know where they're going till they get there. Kind of fun for old people, you know. They go to the winery, you know, that's the highlight of the day. They go to a lot of wineries, a lot of wine things around New Varshan in Auckland. Or they go to the restaurant, the one at the end, that one on the corner, all the fresh fruits and veggies. Maybe they go somewhere else. And then on that particular journey, they bring them into New Varshan. They go to the school. You have a nice school there. You need a school here in Auckland. Yeah, the cows. You need a school in Sydney. I'm amazed you don't have a school down here for all the youngsters, you know. Anyway, that's another thing. So they go to the school. That's the highlight for most of the elderly people when they see all the little children, you know, devotee children specifically, and they're all studying. And then they even say to the kids, so can you tell me what 9 times 21 is? And things like that. And the child tells, oh, and they're very impressed, you know. Little things like that, you know, they're impressed. They really feel good. Then they come to the temple. We keep the curtains closed. And we give a speech, we talk, we chat a little bit. And there's usually about a busload, 50 of them will come, you know. And then right at the end, we open the curtains. Because many of them are Christians. Many of them are Christians from, you know, the older generation were mostly Christians. So we didn't want to shock them in the beginning, so we shock them at the end, you know, rather than the beginning. Because they see the idols, you know, it's a little bit much for many of them. But most of the time, mostly, I'd say almost exclusively, they were absolutely stunned when they saw the altar. They would stand, they'd never seen anything like it. Oh, they're so beautiful, they would say things like this, you know. What is it? It's so beautiful. Can I take a picture? You know, most of them are very pious, innocent old people. They're taking pictures. They didn't have mobiles in those days. It was all cameras, you know. And it was so nice to see these old people. They were just like kids, you know. They were like little children, basically. You know, isn't it very sweet? And then we take them for prasadam. And they all buy these because most of them have got arthritis or something. They all buy these copper bracelets, you know. We had in the shop. Some of them would buy some candles or incense. Some would even buy books. All these type of things. You know. This way they're getting exposed to Krishna, the prasadam. And I don't know, some of them may not have survived after prasadam because, you know, they're 80, 85, 90 years old. And they taste a little bit of halva and they couldn't stop, you know. They just would keep eating with the cream and halva. You know. I don't... Maybe they didn't survive long after that. I don't know. Some are now exposing people who never come to the temple. The Krishna's brought them along. It was so nice. Huh? There's some very funny experiences there with those elderly people sometimes. What else? Giving people a chance who never come. You've got to give them a chance. And sometimes you get there's a funny person in the temple this afternoon. I told you, didn't I, Nityananda?
Yeah.
I went down to the temple about, I don't know what time it was. 4, 5? Just about 5.
4:30.
It was after I ate, and so 5, just after 5. And there's this one man, an Indian man, and I don't know, I thought he was having an epileptic fit at first. He was like, his arms were flying around like this. And then I got close. What is going on? He was shouting up and down. Whoa, wow, wow. Daddy, Lakshmi Narayana! He was going like this, you know. I'd never seen anything like this. It went on for about 10 minutes like this, you know. I didn't even know his wife was just stood motionless, just. All the other guests were like. I tried to speak to her. I went up to her. You okay? I mean, can you calm down a bit? He got louder when I said that. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't. He was quite strong looking, you know. I think kind of like, I just didn't know. You don't know what's going on inside him, you know. He was having some emotional outpouring, strong. After about 5 or 10 minutes, he kind of, he went down on his knees, his wife came up and started patting him. I don't know if he's been to the temple before, but maybe someone should talk to him if he comes again a little bit about it. It's nice to have such, emotional attractions. Bit of a display there. But some or another, I mean, one of the funniest ones I can ever remember about this one is back in about 1975. I'd just given a class at the Bhaktivedanta Manor, Bhagavatam class. And after the class, I think I was a temple commander at that time, I went in to sort out, the flowers had just returned from the flower market, every day, or every twice a week or whatever. Somebody would go to the flower market to get flowers. So the flower room was right next to the temple. So everyone else left for breakfast, you see, after the class. So I went there to sort the flowers out. And then I came out, I had the shock of my life. There was no one in the temple room except for one boy. There was this hippie boy, I think he was high on drugs. Somehow or another, he turned up for class. And I don't know what he was, a long hair, scruffy looking fella. And I came out of the temple, because the class was a verse which said we should surrender everything to Krishna. Whatever you possess should be used or given, offered to Krishna in devotion. He was stood there, stark naked, in front of the deities. And he put all of his dirty clothes, including his socks, right in front of the deity. And he was stood there naked. All kinds of interesting ways that people surrender to Krishna, connect to Krishna. Isn't it amazing?
So Maharaj, remember when you were the temple president in New Zealand, you had asked me to go and see this lady from Africa, and she thinks somebody's done voodoo on her. Remember I used to go?
Oh, the voodoo, yeah.
Yeah, remember I used to go and see her?
Yes.
And then one day you sent me the prasad. I went there. The sun came out. I said, Prabhu, don't come, because some people from Christian, they have come here to do some prayers. You know?
Yeah.
Then I come and told you. And then a few years later, when I met you back here, I said, Maharaj, do you remember the story that she became a Christian? You said, no, she's your disciple now. Is that right?
Yes, from South Africa.
Maharaj,
He was my first disciple.
Maharaj said, no, she's become a disciple. After a few years, no?
Kamala Manjari.
Kamala Manjari,
Yeah.
that's right. And the other person who was a Maori, and he took me there in Takanini, and we gave some prasadam. Then the next day, a week, 2 weeks later, I think you had gone traveling then. You went overseas. Then I went with prasadam to his place, because he was asking a lot of questions. Then he told me, start preaching to me. He said that Christians can only go as far as the heavenly planets. They can't go beyond. But you saw in Bhagavatam, when he said that word, Srimad Bhagavatam, I said, wow. He said, in Bhagavatam, you can go beyond that to God's planet.
Ghost planets.
No, God. Krishna's planet.
Krishna, I said ghost planets.
God's planet.
You can if you want.
Then he said to me, I said, how you know this? Then he showed me a set of Bhagavatam, which you recommended to him. He had bought it from the temple. He was reading them. Within 2 weeks, he knew the philosophy behind.
There you go. Everything's there in the Bhagavatam, isn't it?
Yeah.
People somehow or another can receive the Srimad Bhagavatam. Even if they don't read the Bhagavatam, the fact that it's sitting in their house, it has this amazing effect, on their lives. Srimad Bhagavatam. What is another purpose of the temple?
Life coaching, understanding the goal of life.
Life coaching, that's going to a deep level, isn't it? Generally, life coaching is more in terms of your life in this world, but the goal of life is a high point. And we have a devotee in New Zealand also, is used to it. Not now, Padmasambhava, isn't it? He was a coach also in a certain way, life coach, amongst businessmen. He was a businessman himself for some time. And he used to teach from Bhagavad Gita. So did Peter Burwash. He used to teach from Bhagavad Gita, life coaching. Not just how to, maintain and balance your life and so on, but also how to understand the deep purposes of life. And he would use Bhagavad Gita directly. Many of the things, I think this Avatar movie, is it Avatar? And quite a few of these New Age movies things are based on certain principles of the Vedas or Bhagavad Gita and so on. And many, what do you call it? Inspiration is not the word I'm looking for. What's the word? Anyway, something like that. Inspirational instructions for people in the Bhagavad Gita which can inspire them. You were mentioning, like in the Bhagavad Gita, performing your duty, for instance, but the consciousness in which you perform your duty. These type of things, bring them in like that. So yes, life coaching, but understand the real goal behind life. What else? Anything else?
Prasadam and food distribution.
It's funny you were thinking the same thing as me. People go to the temple for prasad. We usually, you're looking at it from a devotee's point of view, but from the public's point of view, I was looking out the window last night after the program in the temple in North Sydney, and I saw that mostly everyone was from Indian origin of one kind or another. And there was a small group of white people, and they looked like real, what would we say, they kind of just hang around, They only come for the prasad, and they were not in the class or kirtan. They just come for prasad, These prasadam addicts. But they're taking prasad year in, year out. They're getting so much benefit, They may have taken a little while. The modes of ignorance is very strong, but nonetheless, they're getting all this credit. A place where people can come, where prasadam, Prabhupada said prasad should always be available for at least 20 or 30 people all day long, any time of the day. We don't usually do that, but that's what he wanted. Anyone who comes should get prasadam. Prabhupada made this a very important part of Prabhupada's concept for our temples. Anything else? Yes, Prabhupada?
It brings one closer to God.
Oh, nice one. To bring us closer to God or to Krishna, whatever name, whatever way we know, but closer to our origins, to our relationship with God. Yes, thank you.
Devotional service?
To a place where devotional service can be not just taught, but actually seen, being practiced. As we heard earlier on, show by example. When you go to the temple, people expect, maybe people expect different things, but they generally expect to see what they read, don't they? Say, for instance, you've gotten a book. Of course, many of you are born in a family of devotees, but say you've gotten a book. You read something, and it gives the address. So you go to the temple, you expect to see a living example, don't you, of what you read. Perhaps that's one area where we could do better. We could probably do better there. But that is very important. People get a big impression when they see the two are, in sync with it. Practice what you preach. This is practically the main way that this Krishna consciousness will grow, by people seeing, practice what you preach, not just preach, but practice it. What do we preach? What do we preach in our general preach? I mean, we preach many things, but what's the essence of our preaching? In terms of what we try to get people to do.
Bhakti yoga.
Yeah, but in terms of what does that... Tomorrow is Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj's appearance day. He said very clearly, Bhakti means... Bhakti is denoted by... He used these 3 words. Bhakti is 4 words. Is denoted by ultimately, but in the case of communicating with people in a practical way, bhakti is denoted by,
Devotional service.
you already said that, I think.
Yeah, I thought, yeah.
Bhakti is denoted by kirtan. That's the essential thing. This is called, you may have heard this term, the Hare Krishna movement, isn't it? It's kirtan which is the main activity of this movement. Everything else has its place. Call it bhakti, call it devotion, call it education, call it life coaching, call it what you will. But kirtan is the essence. Prabhupada said this movement is all about kirtan. And Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said that that activity, any sadhana we perform which does not lead to kirtan is an impediment in devotional service. Not an act of devotion, an impediment. Kirtan is the only infallible means of success. It is the emperor of all sadhana. It's kirtan. We try to get people to chant Hare Krishna, isn't it? Isn't that the main thing? Public programs, temple programs, house programs. Maybe not when you first meet a person, maybe. Most people know us by chanting, don't they? All over the world they see us on the street, isn't it? Maybe not as much as they... Most times we meet people nowadays, they say, where have you been all these years? I've not seen you for 40 years. There's at least 10, if not 100 times more practicing devotees now than there were 40 years ago. But the amount of exposure is much less now than it was then, in general. Of course, it's growing in other ways. Consciousness is spreading in other ways. But in terms of kirtan, we have our kirtans. There are many people performing kirtan all over the world. It's not just us. Now it's become a fad amongst the yoga studios, amongst New Age people, amongst business people too. Kirtan has become a very popular event. It may not be pure bhakti, it may not even be in the mood of bhakti, but it's attracting people. And that's our real business. Our real duty is to make kirtan available to everybody. Sankirtan. That's the most effective preaching in many ways. It's the most effective psychology also in the bigger picture. Of course, you have to have many wheels within the big wheel to help the big wheel to go. But the real wheel is the Sankirtan wheel. That will clear all the ills, everything, all our misconceptions, all our, whatever it is we have, different, whatever, hang-ups and so on. Any kind of discriminatory feelings towards others and so on. Everything can be cleared up by absorption in Sankirtan. The essential purpose of our temples is a place. And there are many other things you could think of, no doubt. To love God is the ultimate thing, but in terms of the practical activity in a temple, kirtan is the most important of all. Most important of all. Prabhupada wanted 24-hour kirtans everywhere. We weren't ready for it, and we're still not ready for it, but he wanted that. That's what the temple's for. It's not a question of no kirtan because the deities are sleeping. That wasn't Prabhupada, that's not at all the case. Kirtan goes on 24 hours. We may be sleeping, so it doesn't go on, but Krishna's not. So kirtan is so important. Or whatever you do in life, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a nurse, whether you're a voice therapist, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a lawyer, whether you're an engineer, psychologist, businessman, lawyer, whatever it is we're doing in life, kirtan should be there whenever you get the chance. That will keep us all together. That keeps the unity between all the differences. Sankirtan. Prabhupada envisioned this, that Sankirtan kept the movement together, it kept the individuals together, can keep everything together if we put kirtan in the center of our lives. Does it make sense or not? And that's temple, whether it's home, whether it's a temple, whether it's a hall, whatever it is, we're on the street, you can also do kirtan. Even if it's not in a group, you can still do kirtan. It doesn't necessarily mean, we were discussing that the other night, somebody asked that question the other day at the program, I don't know where it was. Got a program discussing the meaning of kirtan. Is there a difference between kirtan and sankirtan? Yes and no. There's no difference in one sense. But kirtan, technically speaking, just means loud chanting, a verbal glorification. Sankirtan means with others or complete. So sometimes it can be different meanings. It can be the same thing, or it can also, generally it's mean a different thing. Sankirtan means many people coming together for kirtan. Whereas kirtan you can do on your own. Not difficult, wherever you are. It's very joyful. And it benefits others. It's preaching in itself, even if nobody understands. Benefit to others. Use your common sense. Any questions? I hope, what I wanted to do is to try to encourage everyone. You can realize you can do whatever you do in life and you can still be Krishna conscious. And you're still preaching by that. Even if you're not speaking, you're preaching by your behavior. You're preaching by your, whatever way you can, of course. Yeah.
Thank you so much for such a wonderful class.
It's kind of a down-to-earth kind of sharing session, I think, I hope.
I wanted to ask, constantly we're encouraged to read Srila Prabhupada's books, and I'm also endeavoring to read them. There are times that they can be dense in philosophy and it's hard to understand at times. So what should I do? Should I just keep reading?
So the basic question is that, we're encouraged to read Prabhupada's books, and Auntie is trying to read some Prabhupada's books as much as she can, but sometimes it's hard to understand. So what should we do at that point of time? Is that the idea? Good one. Yeah, it's sometimes hard. It is hard to understand. I mean, is there a book here? Give me any book. I mean, any book means one of Krishna Conscious book. Okay, here's a basic one. I see you've got Gita Life up there. Is that part of a course or something, Gita Life? Is that Chaitanya Charan or somebody doing it? Who is it? There's two courses going on here. This is Keshavaraj. He was recently here. Did you meet him? Did you all meet Keshavaraj? At the temple or where?
No, we had a program down Rouse Hill, right? Castle Hill. We had two programs, one at Rouse Hill and one at Castle Hill.
One at Rousel and one at Castle.
Okay, you had two programs with Maharaj.
Yes,
So how do you find this book?
I have it. I haven't read all of it. I've read some.
Is it something you read or is it something you go through? Funnily enough, I haven't even read it myself, although we have them in French.
It's really good, I read it.
You've read it?
Yeah.
Is it just like reading material or is it a course
Well,
material?
summarize the Bhagavad Gita, basically.
Pardon? Summarize.
Yeah, in acronyms.
In a very way you can relate with it.
It's got 18 chapters, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it gives like an acronym, like a word, and they use different acronyms to summarize.
It
the
helps you
lessons
to
of the
relate
chapter.
to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Helps you to digest
Yeah,
the
it's
subject
very
matter.
easy, yeah.
There may be some very good food, but if you can't digest it, it's not much good, is it, really? You're going to get constipated or some problem in your stomach. So a little aid to digest is required. This seems to be for Bhagavad Gita. Again, I say I haven't read it, but I've heard from everybody who has. They say it's a very wonderful way of entering into the Bhagavad Gita in a digestible way. And you'll probably become more interested to read the whole thing once you go through this, to find out more. Pretty hard wading your way through the whole Gita. I can imagine how you feel. We're all different. I kind of had when I was at my college years, at the tail end, I had a kind of a sudden kind of thirst for reading Vedic literature, Mahabharata, Ramayana, some Upanishads, including the Bhagavad Gitas. Nothing to do with ISKCON, just in general. These are books. What's her name? Kalyan Subramaniam or something, her name, one author, and different persons who'd written the Mahabharata in English. So if we just open one page here, we're on Dhyana Yoga, chapter 6. So what do you make of chapter 6? What's he saying there? See what dear Keshavaraj says. I've known him since he was a young man, a young boy. Chapter 6, it's easy. It's not so difficult. It says it's easy. What's difficult about it? In the previous chapter, Krishna briefly mentioned Astanga Yoga, the arduous regime of an ascetic yogi. In the present day, millions of people practice some isolated elements of this path, Hatha Yoga and Pranayama, to achieve physical and emotional well-being. In chapter 6, however, the path of Astanga Yoga is explained in its entirety. Krishna's purpose in discussing the 8-step path is primarily to establish its impracticality in the endeavor towards spiritual perfection. In an age surcharged with temptation, disturbance, and spiritual weakness, the easiest and most advanced path of self-realization is Bhakti Yoga. So then he goes into easy. The first one is enemy or friend. What does that refer to? Mind, the mind, okay. The next one is Astanga Yoga. What does that refer to? Pretty self-explanatory, isn't it? What does it mean?
8 processes.
Eight step, yeah, the eightfold process. But particularly it talks about how to sit and how to hold your back. I mean, you can all give it a go if you want. You know, how to practice it, you know, breathing, hold your breath and breathe in properly and breathe out and then stop breathing altogether and learn how to die before you do that, by the way. And you know, you've got to be in a secluded place with no mobiles in your pocket and things like that. Can you live without a mobile, you know, more than like 2 inches away from you? Nowadays, mobile is your best friend, isn't it? Huh? Can hardly live without it these days, isn't it? All over the world, the same thing is there. But you know, secluded place, no disturbance. You've got to focus your mind on the tip of the nose, sitting in a certain way, your legs and everything on a certain type of cloth, you know, tiger skin and deer skin, or deer skin, so keep the tigers away, something or another. All kinds of things, isn't it? Very hard, you know, withdrawing your senses from everything. Just focus on whatever your meditation is, just focus. Very hard for people, very hard. The mind is not easy to control. So Astanga Yoga, success and failure, you hear about the difficulties. How difficult. It's possible, but very, very difficult. And then you hear about the most successful of all yogas. And it's known here, it says, after summarizing the arduous process of Dhyana Yoga, meditation, and Astanga Yoga, the chapter concludes with a ray of hope. The perfection and goal of all yoga systems is to help the individual become fully conscious of God at all times. While every yoga system is certainly beneficial, the most advanced, efficient, and easiest path is known as Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of devotion. In this age, the primary practice of Bhakti Yoga is mantra meditation, chanting the names of God. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Through this process, any person from any background can attain spiritual perfection and experience all the benefits described in this chapter and elsewhere. So, devotional stuff in the 8th chapter, I'm going to summarize also Vedanti. How's it go? Vedeshya Geshu Tapasya Chaiva Danesha Yat Punya Palam Padishtam. All the purposes are served. Do you get everything you get from Astanga Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Hatha Yoga, Kriya Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakarma Yoga, whatever yoga it is, will be completely satisfied by practicing Bhakti Yoga. Yavan Atudapani Savadaksam Prasodike. All purposes served by a little pond are ultimately found in a great reservoir of Bhakti, devotion. So I would suggest, because it depends what you're reading, but if an ordinary person picks up now, okay, you're showing this place here. I don't know what people gather when they look at it, first of all. I can imagine they find it a little difficult to follow a little bit. Let's see, it is said here that this devotional service is eternally existing. It is not as the Mayavadi philosophers claim. Although they sometimes take the so-called devotional service, their idea is that as long as they are not liberated, they will continue their devotional service, but at the end, when they become liberated, they will become one with God. Now, for an aspiring devotee, that, of course, is probably digestible, but for one who's not, it's probably not. So everything's like that. Subject matter according to our ability to digest, our ability to put into practice. It's good to hear. Now, many of you have studied at university, are studying at university, or will study at university, probably all of you. And, you know, it's a stage by stage. You know what your goal is? What's your goal of studying? Why are you studying? Yeah, we're talking of the inner study, but I mean, in one sense, or let's say going to university, what's your purpose?
The job,
Pardon?
the career, job.
Okay, that's going even one step further, isn't it, to get a job?
To get a career and
Take-
then potentially use that in Krishna consciousness as well.
Great. Well, that's like the one step ahead. That's a long-term thing, but I think you got it. You're hoping to pass your exam and get a degree. Everything else, if you don't get your degree, you're not likely to get the next step that you're aiming at. University, you're not going to get a career at university, nor a family, nor a house, nor a job. You're trying to get a degree at university, isn't it? See where you're at. Live with where you are. You're trying to get a degree. Now, it's not. Now we go on to the other point. It's not just to get a degree. There's a reason why you want a degree, isn't there? You want a degree so you can get a job, isn't it? There's a reason beyond it. It's not just to get that degree. The degree on its own is not much of value, is it? And if you get a degree, someone said earlier on, still you struggle to get a job. It's kind of it shouldn't be like that, but it often is. But anyway, you're hoping that when you get a degree, you're going to get a job and all the other things that you... but if you don't know jobs exist, it'd be hard to... What's the point of all this? You may not have a job, but you do think of that if I get this degree, you think about what you want to do more than a degree in one sense. I mean, why do you study law?
To help other people when they're in trouble.
Well, by studying law is not going to help anyone else, is it? Why do you study law?
To become a lawyer.
To become a lawyer, okay. He wants to become a lawyer so he can help you when you all get in trouble. Help the Hare Krishnas when they're arrested. Good one. Yeah, you have this goal. You're not a lawyer. You're not a lawyer. But you're studying. You know the goal is to become a lawyer. The goal is not just to get a degree. A university goal is to get a degree, but it's useless. It's no more value than a piece of paper unless you use it, is it? Useless thing. Put it on, maybe you get a little bit of, oh, you've got a degree in law, but you've got no job, You're not working in anything. So, it's not very much use in reality, other than a bit of pride, maybe. So, you've got to have that idea, that goal, something you're aiming towards. And the same thing with reading sometimes. You can't understand it, but you know that if I go through the right course, that this will eventually become realized. You're seeing a goal. There's the first thing is we have to get what's called sambandha. We have to get our basic understanding in place, So Bhagavad Gita is mostly sambandha, mostly. Prayojana is there also, and Abhidheya is certainly there. But especially we have to get our grounding in place. Then things become a little clearer. But still, generally you don't go to college with no idea whatsoever behind it. Some people do, but generally you don't. You sort of have an idea why you want to study, why you want to be a baker. Where's our baker gone? There he is. This is old philosophy stuff. Get back to the kitchen. Get that bread in the oven. Do something useful. What's all this talk? Everybody's got to eat. We've got to make some nice bread. You're right. Absolutely right. And Krishna says that. So, you want to provide food, but you want to offer it to Krishna because you're a devotee. But you have a goal there, So Nectar Devotion is a really good example of that. I don't know if any of you have ever read it. But, if you ever go through a course in Nectar of Devotion, they don't even study the last 40 chapters of Nectar Devotion, even in Bhakti Sarvabhauma. So what to speak of Bhakti, what's the first one? Bhakti Shastri. It's just not there. It's realized subject matter. It isn't. I mean, it is, yeah, it's real. You can't put it into practice. You know what I mean? You can't, oh, I'm going to put ecstatic symptoms into practice. Some people think you can. It doesn't work like that, does it? You've got to go through the first practice, and then that's supposed to be realized. You're supposed to experience that. Then it guides us through that experience. So it's beyond any degrees, beyond whatever. You're entering into the plane of, realized love. But you've got to know that's the goal. You can't understand it. You can't apply it. It may not be very relevant in one sense to our present situation, but we should know what the goal is. And the goal is not just to practice. The goal is not just to go to university forevermore. It's to get something which enables you to go to the next stage. So sometimes that's the case. Other times it's just beyond our intellectual capacity. It may not be beyond our kind of adhikar, but it's beyond our intellectual capacity to understand. So it may or may not be totally relevant for us at that point of time. But to understand it deeper, that's why Sangha, hearing in the association of devotees, is very essential. When we hear on our own, you may have the adhikar or the eligibility or the intellectual capacity to grasp it. You may not. You may not have the attention span. It may not be at all interesting. It may not be the subject which you have any interest in at all at that point. You will find in 10 years' time, when you read that subject now, you will see that suddenly it becomes alive. Even Bhagavad Gita, each time you read it, it's like reading it for the first time, practically speaking. So I don't know what was available. You're a busy person. You're probably a very busy lady. And you probably don't get much time. But as much as possible, if you can, you don't have to rush through, by the way. It's better to just do a little section and try to digest it. You know what I mean? Digest what you can. And it's very good to join up with some group to study. And I don't know what you've got on the menu over here, but Bhakti Shastra is available everywhere online, if not on person to person. It's good to join one of these courses, but don't try to do too much at once. Digest what you can, and then it's like eating. Some of us eat like monkeys. Isn't it? Give me more. More. It's kind of down the hatch before the next one's in the mouth, the other one's on its way down. And the other one's in your hand before. Just like throw it in and down it goes. Boom, 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 boom. You don't digest very well like that. One gulab well digested is better for you than 20 gulabs just thrown down the hatch. You're supposed to, Ayurveda says, you're supposed to chew it, It says chew your food. I don't do it either. I know what to do, but I don't do it either. I'm so passionate. I just want to get it over with quick. Get onto something else. But you've got to digest it. So subject matter, as much as what is relevant, at least should be digested. So if you can study with others, but don't become disturbed if you find you're not too much into it. I know it's difficult to grasp. It's nothing unusual. But try to get at least sunburned on the ground level. A little bit kind of, let's say, understood. What do you like reading?
Currently I want to start Chaitanya Charitamrita, but I have made a commitment which I haven't fulfilled to read Teachings of Lord Chaitanya first. And
You're reading all the high philosophy books here.
I mean, I want to read Chaitanya Charitamrita because I just feel attracted to it.
You feel attracted to it.
And Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, I've read half of it.
Teachings of Lord Chaitanya is very hard. Teachings of Lord Chaitanya is a summary of the philosophical content of Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's basically the Siddhanta, and it is quite difficult to read. You'll start Chaitanya Charitamrita, and you after about 4 or 5 chapters, you think, maybe I'll go back to Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. The first section of Chaitanya Charitamrita is quite, what we say, deep and quite difficult to digest. It's very technical, it's very it's beyond imagination for most people. But most of Chaitanya Charitamrita, especially Madhya Lila, is Lord Chaitanya's travels. And it's very, very, and you learn so much just by hearing his interactions with devotees. We can look at the songs of Narottam Das Thakur. He wrote those songs because 99% of people were illiterate. They couldn't even read what to speak of understand it. And they really weren't philosophical, but they were devotional. So he wrote his songs in such a way, in a simple language, in a simple way, so that people would sing those songs. And by singing, it's in their own language, Bengali, by singing those songs, they would pick up all the various, Siddhanta of Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement. They would live it. They would experience it like that. So digestible. So you definitely, when you're reading, and that's one of the things about this little book here. I guess he's written it like that in a way which is a little easier for people to digest the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. And once you've digested the essence, then it may be a little easier to go deeper into each section. I guess that's the idea. As I say, I haven't gone through it, so I don't know exactly, but that's what it looks like. And Chaitanya Charitamrita, I don't know if anyone's done that with Chaitanya Charitamrita. I don't know.
There's Gauranga book.
Pardon?
Gauranga book?
Gauranga Darshan.
Gauranga Darshan.
Oh, not Gauranga Darshan, just a Gauranga book. It's by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami. It's just a summary of Gauranga Lila.
Okay. Well, that's pastimes mainly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chaitanya Charitamrita has a lot of philosophy. It's important to have the philosophy. You probably got the basics in your heart already. But you do generally need to go through it with someone else to make it lively, to make it digestible, to make it, it's like medicine. You've got to present it in a way which is digestible. You can't just take it very easily. If you take it, the actual active ingredient of medicine is pretty bitter, to say the least. Very bitter. Generally they have to coat it with something, so make it somewhat digestible. Even from its own constituents, so to speak, it's very hard to digest. They add all kinds of things to make it digestible, mostly milk products, by the way, to make it digestible to the system. And for children, you make it not just digestible, you make it tasty, right? When you're little kids, you have to put it in some kind of syrup or some candy or something, practically. They won't take it. Something digestible. So, what more can we say on that? That's something which you need association, and I see you're definitely someone you're not just having a hard time with Krishna book or with On the Way to Krishna or whatever it is, Higher Taste. I've been trying to read the Higher Taste, but it's just so difficult. Those recipes are so hard to follow. There's more in there, there's some philosophy too, but it's pretty simplistic, isn't it? But you're talking of Chaitanya Charitamrita, everybody finds that a little difficult. It is a little difficult, but gradually it becomes clearer, especially teachings of Lord Chaitanya. It's a great book. And I don't know what to say. Anything else on that, or anything else? Yes, two hands.
I've got a quick question. We started off with this as well, so discussing about death. Do you have any tips on how to approach death?
How to approach death? I was hoping no one would bring us back to that subject. But it's the reality of life, isn't it? We will have to bear it in mind. I was just with a devotee online, because it was interesting. Maybe you read it, I don't know, but in Paris with Krishna Pada. One of our devotees in France, he's married to one of our French devotees. He's Italian, he's got Italian. He's not, he's South American, but he's Italian citizen. And they got married some years ago, and he's about 40 years old. His wife maybe a little bit younger. And about a year ago, he was diagnosed with leukemia. I think you all know what leukemia is? What's leukemia?
When it's
Yeah, in the blood system, it's kind of it could be described like blood cancer or something like that, to make it simple for people. It's the blood is just, they can't reverse it. The blood or whatever it is in the system produced by the bone marrow has dysfunction, is not doing its job. And so the blood just isn't doing its job, and your system just isn't able to, generate. You've got no resistance to anything. And it gradually, usually die. They can maintain for some time. So he got a very severe type, even had a bone marrow transplant, but it didn't work. And after about 1 year, it was just in hospital. He had all kinds of chemotherapy and this therapy and that therapy. Horrible experiences he went through with his wife. It was very challenging, you could say, to say the least. Anyway, it was just in December just now, and somehow or other I didn't take rest, and I couldn't take rest, so I turned off my mobile completely. But then I couldn't sleep, so I just put the mobile back on for some reason, and suddenly there was an emergency message from her. It wasn't directed to me, it was directed to anyone, basically speaking, but I know them very well. Help, the doctors had just said that he's going to pass away this very night. So I immediately called her, and we were online chanting together, loudly kirtan. He was lying in the bed in hospital. Semi-conscious, he was definitely not unconscious, semi-conscious. And we were chanting constantly for about 3 or 4 hours. And we were chanting when he left his body. So where are we going with that? Preparing ourselves for death. Or how do we approach death? Prabhupada, for instance, said we should chant as if this is my last breath. Pretty heavy, isn't it? In other words, try to focus, try to become Krishna conscious. The wonderful thing is about the mercy of Prabhupada's mercy, really, that in the association of devotees, that the desire of the devotees is very powerful. And even if you're not so qualified, you certainly won't feel yourself qualified, but even if we're not qualified, the mercy of the devotees is so strong that you, almost every time you find that devotees have devotees around them chanting. They have the support of devotees. Even persons who would not get on during their life come together at that point, realizing what the goal is, to be Krishna conscious at the end of this life. And even if you're not, the devotees help. And even if the devotees don't help, Krishna helps. Somehow now we've seen that many times. The devotees who've rendered service but drifted into illusion, at the time of death, suddenly Krishna consciousness emerged. One devotee, a famous devotee, left for a long time. At the moment he was leaving his body, he was in the hospital. I think there were 1 or 2 devotees with him, but he was more or less unconscious. He had AIDS. And he suddenly sat up. He hadn't sat up for days on end. He was like a skeleton. He sat up on his bed all of a sudden and said, "Prabhupada, you're here!" and fell dead on the spot. Dead on the spot. As Krishna's, don't forget, he's in your heart. He's with us. This is not a mechanical process which works in itself. We're trying to call out to Krishna. We have no hope on our own. We're subject to all kinds of... Maya is very powerful. The material fears and anxieties and doubts shroud our consciousness. There's like clouds coming in. But Krishna's there too. Don't forget. He's there. He's seeing your sin. In the midst of all the difficulties we go through in life, he's seeing your little effort to be Krishna conscious, which is quite something. It's quite rare, to say the least. Very rare. That's not lost. That's all. Neha bikramo nashosti pratavayana vidite is never lost. Krishna notes everything. And we shouldn't take that like then I don't need to worry. We still make every effort to try to be Krishna conscious throughout our life. Throughout our life. But it's one thing which our society now is faced with, because this is basically now just coming to that stage where most of the senior devotees are leaving the world. Some of you, yourself, your Guru Maharaj left a few years ago. This year we had Gopal Krishna Maharaj leave. Maybe he's got disciples here, I don't know. But he's got 20, 30,000, 40,000, I don't know, tens of thousands of disciples. You know, some of you are disciples of Jayapataka Maharaj. Anyone here initiated by Jayapataka Maharaj? You're Jayapataka Maharaj's disciple. So, you know, pardon? Also Jayapataka Maharaj. You know, I've spent decades with Jayapataka Maharaj. I know, you know, I know him quite well. And, you know, but his health condition, everyone knows that he's on dialysis, and his first servant, Mahavara, is my bhakta. I look after him when he was a 9-year-old kid. I've known him since he was 9. You know, so he keeps me updated whenever. But, you know, we know it's a fallible situation, and it's a reality which we have to face. Prabhupada said, don't think this won't happen to you, it will. So we're at that stage now. And not everyone's in the position like your Guru Maharaj, or Bhakti Tree Maharaj was different relationship. I don't know what was going on between him and Srila Prabhupada there. But generally speaking, you know, when you leave your body, there's devotees all around. You know, if you're a senior devotee, even junior devotees were seen, not junior, junior, but devotees were not so well known that some or other Krishna arranges that the devotees are there. They're there. But still, it's a big responsibility on movement. I know Giriraj Maharaj and others are very serious about these things, of trying to provide that care for devotees when they get older, to help them. It's a bit scary if you don't think, well, there's no plan in place to help you. It is going to send me off to an old age people's home or something, you know, which is sometimes happens, you know. You got dementia. I mean, devotee or no devotee, the body is the body. The material is the material body. You know, these things do happen. And some people, they're fit and conscious. I was right at Kadamba. Anyone Kadamba Maharaj's disciple? He has a lot of disciples in Sydney. I was right at his feet when he passed away. As far away as, not even this far away. And to see how he passed away was quite extraordinary. I mean, it was like, it was so saintly, it was just so peaceful. It was so, his face was radiant. And it's obvious he was, you know, where he was at. Obvious. In his last words, he whispered a few minutes before he left to his servant at the other end of the bed. He said, mission above all. You know, he was conscious right to the end. Not everyone's like that. We need help. We need help. Everyone needs help. This movement's here to help us. So this is a big area which we're also talking about it in France now. We have to do something now. We haven't been able to do anything up to now. But there's so many senior devotees. We've lost 5 devotees in France in the last year. Senior devotees, Prabhupada disciples. And it's going to be everyone in the course of time. So this is a society. It's not just a movement for these things which we've mentioned. It is a society to provide a facility for us all to die and go back to Godhead. You know, we don't mean that's the goal, you know, to die or something. But it's a reality, isn't it, of life. We have to be aware of it. And that is just as important, if not more important than anything else. So I think it's just a point which really has to be developed in the practical sense. We understand that Krishna's in the heart, and obviously he's there, but still as a society, because otherwise it doesn't look very good for our preaching, does it? We don't care about the old ones. They can't, it's like the old cows, they just send them to the slaughterhouse because they don't give milk anymore. It shouldn't be like that with old devotees. Shouldn't be. And that's not, I mean, devotees are taking it seriously, but we have a long way to go to make it even more secure and more, you know, comforting, let's say, or give us confidence, you know. We're not transcendentalists. We don't mind if we die in the middle of the desert and no one ever finds out about it, you know. We may not be on that level of consciousness. You know. We need help. We all need to help each other, provide a support. Living and dying. You psychologists, counsellors, whatever you're going to be. Whilst living, you're trying to provide that support. The lawyer's trying to provide that support. Everyone is. We have to support each other. We're a family. The family, the house for the whole world to live in, it means that everyone, no matter what they're doing, can be in Krishna conscious. Whatever they are, whoever they are. Prabhupada wasn't interested in changing religions. He was interested in us becoming Krishna conscious. Whether you call yourself this or that. But be that. Don't just say you're that. Be it. Follow it. Practice it. Apply it. Hare Krishna.
One question on the subject. At work we got a thing called DNR. Do not revive.
Do not
Revive.
Do not revive.
So which means like we work in a high voltage situation where it's 132,000 volts. And
How
if
many
you get
volts?
132,000.
132,000 volts.
So if you get electrocuted by that voltage, that high, and you might not, 90% you not survive, and there's no rescue for that. But if you apply DNR, that means nobody will revive you and you pass away. So does it mean it's a sinful thing to do that?
You mean that we don't try to revive them?
Yeah.
Is it sinful? Why do they say that?
Because if they do revive them, they might come like a cabbage. They might be able to move or talk. and
Okay,
stuff.
they'll be like they won't be able to, they'll be paralyzed or something like that. Is it sinful? It's not, well, first of all, the very thing itself is not normal. Working with 132,000 volts. I don't read about that in the Bhagavatam. Maybe you read about other things which are also a bit far out. It's a recent creation, isn't it?
Yes.
These type of things. We've created situations which are un-Vedic, and then we're trying to look for a Vedic answer to them. It's kind of a contradictory situation in many ways. So, yes, the normal thing, I don't know if there's an example. You've seen the picture. You will have seen the picture. I think it's about 15 years ago in Vrindavan. I was in the have you been to the MVT in Vrindavan? MVT? Okay, you know what the electric wires are like just on the wall of the MVT. What they're like inside may be different, but on the wall leading there, what does it look like?
Bird's nest.
Like a jungle, huh?
Bird's nest.
Bird's nest, yeah. It's like 100,000 wires going out, tangled around each other, going in every direction, isn't it? Nobody knows where they're coming from or where they're going to. But somehow there's one guy who seems to know everything, you know. He goes up there and he knows what wire's coming and where's... I don't know how they do it, you know. It's just like a blooming knot of wires on top of this post, you know. So I just in there talking to someone, and suddenly this little baby monkey... You know, generally people don't make very close relationships with monkeys. This little baby monkey touched two wires, obviously one of them was alive, and he got electrocuted. And he fell off the wire somehow and crashed to the ground. And there's a famous picture, he crawled over and sat on my foot.
Yes.
You seen that, remember that picture?
Yeah, I remember that.
Little tiny monkey, he just sat there. And then suddenly one of the chokidars came over with a blanket, picked up the monkey, and started to massage the monkey left and right. And the monkey kind of gained consciousness. He was conscious, but he was like in a terrible state. Or did he? No, he massaged him first, that's right. The monkey fell down, and he was like motionless. So he came over and massaged him like anything with his blanket.
Then came to your feet, right?
Then the monkey became conscious. Then he crawled onto my feet. I was about 5 meters away. But the fact that, you know, he brought that, a monkey, he brought that, it wasn't 132,000 volts, obviously, but it was quite a whack.
240 volts.
Something for a monkey, a baby monkey, was quite a bash. And he was burned, badly burned. And he survived. But I didn't survive forever, but he survived for quite a while. So the fact that chowkidar normally throws a brick at them, you know. went over there and massaged that monkey and brought that monkey back to consciousness. You see? There's a personal factor going on here. It's not just a lump of flesh, there's a person there. And so then after about 4 minutes, time I can't remember, a few minutes, suddenly all the monkeys regathered around the walls, and then the Jogidar said, everyone get away, get away. The mother and the father were looking. They were about to pounce, you know. So we all left, and then the mother came and took the baby away.
So Maharaj, him coming crawling to your feet, was it some sort of conscious thing to do for him?
Huh?
When he crawled to your feet, was it something
I
like
don't know. I have no idea.
something
I had no idea. I was bewildered myself. I didn't know what was going on. I just kind of looked at it, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
so much thing around you, but it crawled to your feet must be some kind of
Krishna's in the heart. He guides people according to their whatever. I have no idea. But that was not the point. The point is that they were trying to revive that little monkey. A monkey, what to speak of a human being. How would you feel? Of course, you could say you may want to make a choice you'd rather not be revived. But it's an unnatural situation, unnatural. Nowadays they have unnatural ways of revival. So there's natural ways of trying to revive people. Nowadays it's like they stick tubes into you for 50 years, take all the money out of your bank account. When it runs out, the tubes come out. That happens, by the way. Oh, they passed away. So did all their money. What to do? Anyway, that hopefully isn't normally the case. Artificial systems. We're living in a very artificial society, so you won't get a perfect answer to all these things. There'll be contradictory answers to things because you've got a contradictory circumstance to begin with. An unnatural situation to begin with. But normally, yes, you do what you can to revive the person. Normally.
The thing is that if some staff put a DNR, you get a ticket, you can't revive them, and they can die in front of you. And then you feel a bit of guilt that you couldn't legally do it. Because if you do...
Well, if you can't do it, you can't do it, full stop. That's against the law. I mean, that's a question of circumstances you're not allowed to do. And the law, if that's what you're saying is true, the law is the law, and they're the ones responsible. You're not responsible. What do you do? I mean, on the battlefield, if there's 100 soldiers shot down, what do you do? You're a doctor, what do you do? What are you going to do? You revive those who can be easiest revived. You'd like to see everyone revived, but some are dead, some are seriously injured, some are only slightly injured. You try to get the slightly injured ones fixed up first. Or if there's a general, you might go to them, of course. But you have to do the needful. You have to use your common sense in these situations. So if there's a law against it, you can't do it anyway. So yes, it's not a pious law by any means. It certainly isn't. Definitely not. But what can you do? Everyone's, they've met it's a big topic, isn't it? Why it happens and so on. Yeah, we do what we can to save. Materially, it's material. It's a material thing. Sin, piety is sin. This is material. So you do what you can to help the person. Even if you can't save them, at least you try to minimize their suffering. Try to give them some water to drink or something, or fan them or something. Keep them warm, whatever it is, And do your best. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Just a 5-minute kirtan, then we'll have to go, I'm afraid. We've got a big day tomorrow. Mangalarti. What time is your Mangalarti? What time to go to You're all coming for Mangalarti, right? You're all coming for Mangalarti at the temple in North Sydney tomorrow. Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj's birthday tomorrow, parents, don't forget. For those who are not, you don't have to follow your young people necessarily. You have to go to college, work, and so on, so it's okay. But if you're not doing all those things and you're serious about it, and you're initiated particularly, it's supposed to be a fast day tomorrow. Up till noon. We have a program in the temple tomorrow night for Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj's appearance. You may have other programs, that's great, no problem. But don't forget, tomorrow's a very wonderful day to enhance our devotional creepers. Wonderful day tomorrow. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada, we say, tomorrow is the day when our Srila Prabhupada worships his Guru Maharaj. We want to assist him in that service. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Shri Krishna Shri Advaita Gadada Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So as Prabhupada said, that we try to see that, especially those who are going to be in responsible situations in life, show how you can still do that and be a responsible family person, responsible parent, a responsible member of society working or whatever you do, and be Krishna conscious at the same time. This is very huge preaching, very big. Because some will decide that they want to dedicate their life and soul to just fully engaging in serving in the temple or preaching or something, but generally that's not the case. And for the vast majority of our preaching, it will be done in that way, that for devotees living in the world with families, like everybody else, will be inspiring others by their very example to adopt it in their lives, adopt Krishna consciousness in their lives. If you can adopt a road, you can definitely adopt Krishna consciousness. I see these signs all over the place, adopt a road. I don't know how you adopt a road, I don't know. But adopt, because in one sense Krishna is not, he's not an orphan by any means. But we bring this into our lives. Bring it into our lives. It's a natural state actually. It's not even bringing it in, it's waking it up. Wake it up in our lives. It's already there, it's just covered over. Just uncover our hearts and Krishna consciousness is there. Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much. Wish you all the very best in your studies and your devotion. Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming all the way over. Very kind. A very good friend. I've stayed many times in Satyananda Prabhu's house with his family. We don't stay there much now. I'm staying in a palace now.
Upgraded.
Upgraded, yeah, I've been upgraded. Business class now. He used to stay economy. Then he upgraded to business too. He used to stay in a little house.
New Zealand was a...
Well, that was it. I probably stayed in a little house over here. He had a little house at one time here too. Then upgraded to a bigger house. Now we're going to downgrade to a smaller house again. Kids are old enough. They're old enough now. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Ram. All goes to Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
His Holiness Jayananda Goswami Maharaj Ji.
Hare Krishna.